was a massive. 10 of the trainers had to leave. I took them all on board. I slept in the studio. I was living off 2-minute noodles, and it was at that time a business coach came into my life, and I didn't even know how I was going to pay.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the One Shot Movement podcast. My name's Craig Schultz. I'm the founder of the One Shot Movement, where it's all about inspiration, education, diving deep into success stories of successful entrepreneurs, people that are out there making it happen, real movers and shakers, and really trying to dive into some of the lessons to help you thrive, live your life with passion and purpose. And I'm super excited today here with a very good friend of mine, Mr. Travis Bell, who's the founder of the Bucket List Guy and the Bucket List coaching brand. But he's an incredible entrepreneur that's been in business since the early 90s, where he was one of the first people to franchise fitness training, personal training studios. So Travis, look, let's get started, get right into it. Let's learn a little bit more about your journey of success and business.
For sure. Yeah, it takes me back. Hi, everyone. I started personal training mid-90s, I think, when there wasn't even an industry in personal training. Started in third year university, where this guy by the name of Tony Hewitt came in to do, I did a phys ed degree. I thought I was going to become a high school PE teacher. But he was doing this thing called personal training. He was personal training Daryl Summers at the time. He was getting paid $200 an hour. And I thought, oh, he's a rock star, this guy, Daryl Summers. Hey, it's Saturday. If you're too young to forget about it. But he had a great lifestyle as well. And this is pre-internet, pre-Google. And I was enthralled by, I was blown away by what he was doing. It was out of the gym. He was doing it at people's homes, and he was doing it at different places around Melbourne. And he's like, you could see that I was a young, impressionable guy. And he said, look, subscribe to this magazine, go to this event, read this book. And I just did everything that he said, you know. And that's my advice to you guys out there, to any entrepreneur, anyone starting a business, anyone who wants to find their, find someone that's doing what you do and just model it. Just don't question it, just do it. Tony saw that, took me under his wing. I started personal training out of Footscray Swim Centre. And my first client, her name was Heather. She paid me $25 an hour. And it might not sound much, and it wasn't. Now my hourly rate is a little bit different, but I started personal training, and really by the end of university, by the end of third year uni, I was making more money than anyone that I knew. I had more of a life than anyone that I knew, very leveraged, and I just kept going, and built that up. I think my record was 63 1-hour mobile personal training sessions in a week. I had a deal with 4 gyms around Melbourne where I could pay them $5, member or non-member. Got 13 personal trainers working for me. Got my first personal training studio, centralised it all in Richmond. And I found out really quick, with 13 personal trainers, big like warehouse kind of commercial lease, non-secured finance on some equipment, and a few other things. I found out really quick I was a great personal trainer, but shit business person. and I didn't do my maths right, and I got behind on rent, got behind on tax, got behind on paying people, and I just didn't, the maths didn't add up. So it was a massive realization there at one stage where 10 of the trainers had to leave. I took them all on board. I slept in the studio. I was living off 2-minute noodles, and it was at that time a business coach came into my life, and I didn't even know how I was going to pay him. And he said, "Look, what are your goals?" And I said, "I want to be the first to franchise personal training studios in Australia." And after he stopped laughing, I said to Stu, "Yeah, I'm fair dinkum. I'll do anything. I'll do whatever it takes." I slept in the studio and just did everything that he suggested. A year later, a lot of the old trainers came back, by the way, and A year later, we franchised our first personal training studio, and then from there, that model worked, and we built up to a chain of 21 personal training studios around Australia, helped tens of thousands of clients and their families, did close to 2 million personal training sessions. But it was that love of helping people that led me into doing personal development, because I wanted to help more of the person rather than just personal, on the fitness side of things, the whole person, and affect more lives. So I found myself doing public speaking in the personal development space, and I put on a talk, and I started, during that talk, I started sharing my list to do before I die. I always had one written down since I was 18. A lot of people close to me didn't know that. So wherever I went in uni or shared housing, I had my little blue folder with my list to do before I die. I've still got it somewhere. And I wrote it down. It was always my reason for getting up out of bed in the morning, my why. And I shared this with the group, and one of the and I asked the group, who else has got one of these lists to do before you die? And everyone was, no. I said to the 40 odd people in the room, well, what do you want to do before you die? And then a lot of them were coming back with, put the house, put the kids through school, pay off the house, do a bit of travel when I'm older. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably sicker. So we started talking, and then went from a crappy seminar to a not so crappy seminar. And then at the end of it, someone said, how's this list to do before you die stuff? It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy. And that night I went home and registered the domain name, The Bucket List Guy. And then I've been the bucket list guy for now nearly 10 years. I was reminded on LinkedIn the other day. And primarily as a keynote speaker, having done a TED Talk and spoken on nearly every continent on earth in a whole bunch of different countries, to big companies, to small to schools, to all age groups. I love speaking. It's my way of coaching one-to-many. And about 2 years ago, we started certifying bucket list coaches to teach my content, and now we've got bucket list coaches in 15 countries around the world, where if I'm not speaking, I play global CEO as well.
Wow. So, incredible journey, and you can see, I guess, the little steps moving forward. And I often talk to people about business can be a game of inches. Sometimes you got to go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Then you go 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Sometimes it can be 4 back, 1 step forward.
Absolutely. And I guess, and you can see challenges in business. Travis was just talking about having to sleep in his studio just to get by, but he was prepared to do whatever it takes for success. What would you say, I guess, in those dark times in business? Was it your mindset that was the key thing? Was it your ability to learn? Was it work ethic? I'm just going to work harder? What would it be?
Yeah, well, that would be, that would be the easy one. I can outwork anyone. Anyone can say that, but you got to be smart too. You got to make right strategic decisions, which is not always my default. My default is just like power down, like head down, and just work harder, do more calls, do more personal training, do more whatever it took. But that's not always the way. So I've got a tattoo, and I got this actually around that time, was, if it is to be, it is up to me. And it was my ex-swimming coach just put that into me. And that's about taking complete and utter responsibility for your own lot in life, to be responsible, ownership, be self-accountable. And if you're going to be in business, you're the one who falls on the sword. You're the one who's got to innovate. You've got to be you can't blame anyone else. You can't, stop denying that you've actually got a problem, and take full responsibility. Don't use excuses, because you're the one who created this business. So that's been my philosophy, is I'm the one who has to get myself out of this. I'm the one who started. I've got no one else to blame. Bad luck. A lot of people, even in business, will blame the economy, blame bad clients, blame the system that they're whatever. But you're the one who said yes to it.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's I guess fundamentally it is your responsibility, and
Totally.
if you cannot accept responsibility in your part in the equation, it will be, I guess, nearly a ball and chain that you drag around for the rest of your life. So so it's really important to accept the responsibility or your part in whatever it is that's created the challenge or the adversity. So Travis, you're now, deeper into your journey, and you can really sense that you have a deep passion. This is your why, this message of bucket list, find your bucket list. It's a powerful message, which I guess very similar to me, the one shot movement is go out there and give life your best shot. How would you say vision and, your mission, how does that inspire you to do more?
It does, mate. It does, because, the great thing about, and I shared this with you, I did a free gig last week to RMIT students. There was a lot of PhDs, there was a lot of masters, there was a lot of people going through different courses within RMIT, and sometimes I just like to do free gigs to give back. I was asked, it was this global leadership program, and it's, and I don't, I charge quite a bit for my keynote speaking, but I always balance that between the pro bono kind of talks that I do. And it was coming out of last week, I finished, got off stage, and then there's normally a queue of people that either want to get a selfie, or they want to ask a question, or whatever it is. I don't look for that adulation. It just, the content that I talk about stirs people. It upsets people in a good way, maybe disrupts, gives them another perspective to look at their life through. So I was reminded once again, this young girl, she would have been probably 25, came up, she just had tears in her eyes. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And I shared in my talk, which I normally do, I went through a bout of depression through, between personal training and getting into personal development. I went through a bout of depression. It wasn't big by anyone's standards. I wasn't on heavy medication or anything like that compared to what some of the stories that I've really heard. But she was going through a really rough patch, and she came up, she had tears in her eyes. I just hugged her, and she said, what you said to me was, I've been on suicide watch, she shared with me. And I'm really going, she was obviously, this was really fresh, and what I said stirred her in a really positive way. And she said, I've never looked at my life like that before. The tools that you've talked about, I'm going to go home and implement straight away. I'm going to start writing my bucket list. It's as simple as that. And I said to her, can you do me a favor? After we had a hug, and I really appreciate her sharing it, but I said, can you do me a favor and just, and there's method to madness here too, guys. I said, go out and just tick something off your bucket list and tag me. Tag me, please. Like I'm going to make you accountable for this. You say you're going to go and do this stuff on your bucket, well, go prove it. And you tag me, and I'll share it. And I haven't got it yet, but she left there going, oh my God, she might have done it today. Anyway, but the point being is it gave that there were immediate tools. Point being, that helped me connect with my why. The original reason why I do what I do now as the bucket list guy. I'm not saying that I'm going out and saving people's life or anything like that, but if I can give them tools, if me or my tribe of bucket list coaches can go out there and give people tools to use in their life that affects their ecosystem, their family in a positive way, I think that's the job done. And that helped me connect with my why. Once again, even though it was a free, non-paid thing, and that positive reinforcement from that girl was all that I needed for last week. And now we've got our for Bucket List Coach, our vision and mission is huge. Our vision for Bucket List Coach is to create a purposely fulfilled world, and our mission is to help 10 million bucket listers live purposely fulfilled lives. That's big, and I can't do that alone.
No. And I mean, that's what you call impact, when you touch someone's, heart level. Like that's, when you're touching their heart, and you get that goosebump moment when you have that level of impact on someone. When someone actually comes up to you and says, and you won't even know it when you're out there speaking to tens of thousands of people, you don't sometimes understand how much impact you can have on people. And I guess, you've been in business for a long time. What would you say was the best bit of advice you've ever been given at business?
Some of it's that, like making sure that you stop and smell the roses as well. Like we can get caught up in the next goal, but it's those little reminders that I've had to evolve into appreciate more, because I used to get them and I go, oh yeah, another happy client, another happy audience member, great. But now I'm stopping and going, that's what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm meant to do. What was the question? I missed that one.
Best bit of advice.
Best bit of advice. So, work harder on yourself than you do on your job.
Yeah.
I think that's a Jim Rohn quote or something.
Yeah.
Choose a career that you never have to work a day in your life. Set up a life that you never need a vacation from.
Yeah.
That's Seth Godin, I think.
Right.
And I love these little statements, and but they do ring true to me. And lifestyle design has always been a big part of since I read the 4-Hour Work Week. I had lunch with Tim Ferriss, and that was always an inspiration to set up a life. I didn't need a vacation from. It's pretty cool.
Wow. So I guess for you, like bucket list things for you, is travel, is it meeting, inspiring people like Tim Ferriss?
Experiences. New experiences. It's all about new experiences. So, and I also strategically, on purpose, thought, all right, who's going to help me travel around the world? Who's going to pay me to travel around the world and do my bucket list? Keynote speaking. So I rock up for an hour. I speak to a group, inspire that group, and hopefully it's in a destination that I can cross off a few other things on my bucket list while I'm there, right. which is lifestyle design. And now, is my bucket list also a tax deduction?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Not as dumb as I look, but honestly, that's been a big part of it. Creating a life, and I see too many. Depression's a big one. Because I've been through it, and I see so many other people, and who are just working in a scarcity mindset rather than an abundance mindset, and I trained too many people that were on the treadmill in the matrix, so to speak. And I just didn't want to be like that for me.
Yeah. So I guess if we're talking about bucket lists, and I guess for me, the way I look at a bucket list and devising a bucket list, let's say, it's nearly like a work-life plan. How would you describe, a bucket list, or someone that works with you, helping them design their bucket list? Yeah,
look, I say a bucket list is a tangible life plan, where our career plan or our business plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around. So this really brings home for a lot of people the work to live principle, not work-life balance. I think balance is bullshit. I call it work-life blend, especially in this day and age. And a bucket list, as easy as it sounds, is one of my limiting beliefs is why would someone pay someone like me to just write a simple list and go and do it? They don't need me. But people are so busy being busy, they're busy on their to-do list and not their bucket list. They need someone, whether it be me or one of our bucket list coaches, to help them take time out of their life to work on their life. And this is not just about writing a simple list. It's really about how a person reverse engineers their life in order for that bucket list to come to fruition. It's really the growth of them on that journey towards that destination. And most importantly, it's about the person. What excites me, and we know this from personal training days, what excites me is the potential within people. And so I say, people are dying at 40 and they're being buried at 80. A lot of people just give up.
Yeah.
Like they stop pushing the envelope. We want people to experience their potential, and that's really what floats my boat. That's what I believe that's what the human experience is all about. So on the other side of your bucket list is a you that you don't know yet. Get curious about that. That's the human experience. So set up this vehicle, hurry up and set up this vehicle. Get it to create the time flow as well as the cash flow for you to do the things that you want to do in your life. Go write your bucket list. It's not just all about travel, of course. It's just about all the experiences that you want to achieve before you get given a use by date. Maybe like the movie. Unfortunately, the movie is crap because it's about two blokes who get given a cancer diagnosis and then they go and write a bucket list. Unfortunately, a lot of people are so busy being busy, they need that level of a wake-up call for them to reprioritize. And a lot of people do reprioritize in a heartbeat when they get given a cancer diagnosis. I haven't got the time, I haven't got the money. Then suddenly a bloke in a white coat gives you a diagnosis and suddenly you've got all the resources in the world to go and do your bucket list. My job is to wake people up before they get given a use by date. We've only got one shot at ticking everything off that we want to achieve, that we want to do, we want to experience, and the people that we want to do it with before our time is up. Don't wait until you get it given a use by date. Hurry up and do it now.
It's a really powerful message, and I guess the way I like to look at this is in conversation. It's a paradigm that you're sold to go out there and get a good education, then get a good job, then buy your first house, and then get married, and then start investing. And it's that 40-40 plan. And what happens is people stop dreaming. They basically, when you're a kid, you want to be an astronaut, but then you get your first credit card debt, then you get your first car loan, then you get your first mortgage, and people start working from paycheck to paycheck, and their dreams start diminishing. And this is a very thought-provoking conversation, and I love your vision, mission, and message. I guess you were saying earlier, 87% of the population, are
disengaged.
They're disengaged.
So check this out. There's 87% of people who are what they call disengaged. It's actually a stat of people and disengaged mean I don't like what I do on a day-to-day basis at work.
Right.
Like how that is nuts. So, and the thing is, I talked before off camera about a love to and a have to.
Yeah.
And that love to have to seesaw, as I call it. At the moment you've got there's all this stuff that we want to do, our love to job maybe, but we've got a have to as well. At the moment when people start off in entrepreneurship, that love to is probably going to be called a side hustle. Thanks, Gary Vee. A side hustle to start off with. What you do in your spare time, maybe part-time, and then maybe making it full-time. And then slowly but surely finding flexibility in you have to. Because you have to. We live on this is a commercial conversation. We live on an economic planet. There's so many people that go out there and try and find their passion and monetize their passion. They quit their job because they hate it so much. But then they haven't got their love to systemize to create the cash flow needed to pay the bills yet. So there's going to be this really busy time where you're doing a heap of have to, because you have to keep the roof over their head and food on the table, and you're going to be doing your love to. So that's going to be a really busy time. But you're going to start there, go there, and then go there, hopefully. Get rid of the have to over time and go more into your love to over time.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, realize that is a real thing.
Yeah.
Instead, and it doesn't work like this. Okay, quit job and go at that.
Yeah.
One of my goals was when I went fully online with what I do, I wanted to make, my first dollar online. I'd set up my websites and get it all systemized, and my goal was to make $1 online. I figured if I could make $1 online, I could add zeros to that, which I have. Yeah. If you can get the system working, well, why not 10x it from there on?
Yeah.
But this is a real thing, and I don't think a lot of coaches out there kind of it's reality. It doesn't sell very well. You
Yeah.
mean I've got to do some work, and yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Like when I transitioned from owning 5 gyms
Yeah.
into working online myself, there was a transition phase when you were just having to prioritize things and you had to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
And sometimes that sacrifice might be going out on a Saturday night or not playing a game of golf with your friends on a Friday afternoon or whatever it is, but you got to really like dive deep into what it is that you really want in that, you know, short, medium and long term.
Yeah, and realize there is that traineeship, or there is that apprenticeship built into entrepreneurship. And I think again, but be as determined as you're going to do the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Your ability to make decisions quick comes to the fore. Your ability to fail forward faster. I'd recommend that you try as many things as you possibly can, especially if you're younger. Try as many things as you possibly can, and just go after it and sacrifice now to enjoy later. You know, you shouldn't even be thinking about work-life balance up until the age of 30.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, Travis, like, you're now out there as a leader, as an inspiring entrepreneur, you know, and you've been on a journey for a long time. Who do you like to learn from? Like, I always say to people, you know, you always need to continue to grow yourself and evolve and become a bigger and better version of yourself. Who are your favourite entrepreneurs or business people?
Well, it kind of goes, you know, in and out of flavour. You know, I always love, Tim Ferriss or Richard Branson, of course, entrepreneur superheroes. Yeah, Richard Branson runs 450 companies basically from a hammock. That's pretty cool. On his own private island, as you do. But a lot of people see that and then try and get to the hammock now.
Yeah.
But if you read any story about Richard Branson, there wasn't a hammock in sight for the majority of his life. Tim Ferriss, obviously, about his automation, delegation, ethos around, going online. Right now, look, it's funny, part of my bucket list, I wanted to meet Brad Sugars. I actually wanted to meet him because he started this company called Action Coach. Now, it's a big global business coaching franchise. My first business coach was an action coach. And I bought all these books, they're all there. I learned a lot about business through his teachings, and it was, funnily enough, because I talked about franchising, thanks to his stuff, I franchised, and it was about 2.5 years ago where I was actually asked to keynote at their global conference in South Africa. Brad and his family were in the audience, did a great job, and then Brad actually said, "Hey Trav, I think you're onto something with this whole bucket list concept. Let's talk about going into business with each other." And this guy's worth a lot of money, and he's seen every business model out there. And for him to even validate my idea, I was thinking, no, this can't be right. So I went, all right, well, let's have this meeting, and next minute we'd set up a company, and him and I, still to this day, are now business partners. And this is with arguably one of the best business coaches on the face of the planet. Yeah. And to have that idea validated by Brad and was an honour, was a privilege, and having him as a business partner, was a mentor, was a distant coach, mentor, now business partner, is, I'm pinching myself. Through to Grant Cardone as well. I really love his teachings. I hated him at the start, but now I feel he's the real deal. There's all people kind of coming in and out, but I really look now in my journey, I'm really looking at who are the successful and world-changing CEOs. So learning how to be a CEO is my current learnings for me. Who's running a big global brand which is what I'm espousing to big global brand with remote work teams. So these are the kind of things, and every single day I dedicate 1 hour to learning. So.
And what would you say, I guess you've had business coaches, you've read all the books, you've followed, some amazing entrepreneurs. What would you say one bit of advice that's just like stuck out and it's been nearly a foundational piece of advice you've always been drawn to?
It's around the concept of leverage, I think, and it's about creating a business that can work without you. Early days in franchising, and I had also a network marketing business. Is having the system work with it. Brad's definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't forgotten it. A commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. If you're busy in the business all the time, then you're not going to enjoy what the business produces in terms of the time flow and the cash flow. So set up the system, get into a system that allows you to do that. I think that's really, really important. Otherwise, you've just got yourself a job.
Yeah. And I guess now you got your hashtag ticket before you kick it, and the bucket list coach brand, and you got 15 coaches around the world.
15 countries.
15 countries, sorry. But, where do you see yourself going in the next, say, 3 years and 5 years, and what's on your bucket list that you would like to achieve?
Well, real simple. We want to, and I'm not just talking about me. I've got a great global team now. We want to change. We want to make our teachings more accessible. We want to make an impression. We want to change the conversation around depression. Especially teenage depression. The stats on teenage depression is scary. The overprescription of antidepressants is even more scary, and this just pisses me off. I believe the things that we get taught in positive psychology, which is the foundation of everything that I teach, in life coaching, all personal development, this soup of learnings, when imparted in the right way. And I'd like to think that we've created programs that makes these learnings more accessible from school kids through to Fortune 500 companies, that we can hopefully change the conversation around depression. Because I believe that people can self-heal with or self-help rather than going to medication. And I know it had a big impact on my life. So that would be a really cool legacy piece. For me, that's a legacy play. We want to rebrand life coaching, because life coaching is very intangible. Bucket list coach is very tangible. So we want to help 10 million people live more purposely fulfilled lives. That's obviously our mission. But essentially, I want to create something that I'm just really proud of, that my kids love what I do. I don't think they fully understand it. They've been to a few of my talks, but we want to innovate it in a way and serve so many people in a way that I hopefully make my kids proud.
Wow. Yeah, it's sort of like as time goes on, you really start working towards legacy projects, and in the book around what I've been writing myself, your tattoo there, my grade 10 principal, in his final speech before to break out of our high school, he said, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I referenced that actually in the book. And it's, such a powerful thing to take on board. And I guess, Travis, one of the things that this podcast is really all about, it's inspiration, it's education, it's diving deep into people's stories. If you had one lasting message to the audience about, like for me, you've got one shot at life, go out there and give it your best shot. Like, what would you say to the audience about, a powerful thing that can be thought-provoking, wake people up, and
Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly believe, it's a great name, the One Shot Movement, because you really have got one shot. You've got one shot to live your bucket list before it's too late. Don't wait until you get a use-by date, which is what the whole movie was about. Two guys given their cancer diagnosis and then they write a bucket list. I want you to start living your list now. We live in a delayed gratification society. I'll be happy when syndrome, waiting for the perfect time or some day to come around. Now, some day is not a day of the week. Some day is not a day of the week. So, allow yourself to be happy now. It doesn't have to, don't think of like a bucket list as all this extravagant, big trips and expensive, lots of time off. It can be small as well, but it's those little small things on your bucket list that you can cross off that gives you the momentum and motivation to smash through the bigger ones. Choose happiness. Choose happiness. Don't delay. There's so many people going through depression who are a victim to society. You're at the cause, not at the effect. And that's a switch in responsibility. That's a switch in ownership. Own your life. Create the life that you truly want to create. And you know what, I was saying this to the group last week, is ask direct questions of the people that are doing the thing that you want to do. Like, that is the best accelerated learning technique on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are too shy, we're too intimidated maybe, or thinking that they won't talk to me. That's BS, honestly. People who are successful want to pay it forward. They want to pay their learnings forward. So I said to the younger group, act dumb while you're young.
Yeah.
Just ask as many questions as you possibly can. And no doubt you'll get the answer. Rather than trying to work it out yourself and going through years and years, drop your ego, ask questions.
Yeah.
I've got lots more to share, but I won't.
Look, there's so many takeaways from this conversation because, it's such a powerful topic, finding your why, finding your passion, finding your purpose, going out there and just taking action, doing lots of things to work out what it is sometimes. And it is a powerful message that, your bucket list, your live a life by design, you have one shot. Like, these are here to wake up. If you're in the 87% of people that are disengaged, just take the first step forward, make a decision to make change. And on that note, I want to thank Travis for jumping on to the One Shot Movement podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing more and more things from Trav. Where, Trav, do we find out more about you?
Oh, look, easy. Go to the Bucket List Guy, www.thebucketlistguy.com is my parent site there. We've got even bucketlistcoach.com if you want to check out that as well, or on the socials, either Trav Bell, Bucket List Guy, or depending on what your drug of choice, or your Insta, or you're a Facebooker, or you're a LinkedIner, or whatever it is, you'll find me there too. I'm not on TikTok yet. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I've got 2 friends.
Oh, there you go. So anyway, you'll find me.
All right. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Ciao.